The doors of St. Aurelius Cathedral slam open with a thunderous echo. Alma Rivera, her face pale and eyes blazing, staggers inside. The wedding guests gasp. They've seen wedding interruptions before, but never like this. No explanation, just a woman disheveled hair, trembling hands storming toward the altar. Her gaze is locked on the groom, Everett Blackwell, heir to the Blackwell shipping empire. He stands frozen next to his bride, Serafina Kingsley, whose couture gown glimmers under the chandelier's light. Alma's left hand clutches her abdomen. She's pregnant. By the look of it, she's far along. In her right hand, she grips a small velvet ring box. In the hush of the cathedral, her ragged breathing is the only sound besides the faint rustle of silk and taffeta. There's shock on every face, from socialite grandmothers to tabloids disguised as official photographers. A firm voice tries to break in Vivian Blackwell. Everett's powerful mother snaps a warning to the security detail, but they hesitate, uncertain if tackling a pregnant woman in a church is a worse PR nightmare than letting her speak. Alma lifts the ring box, her knuckles white, and hurls it at Everett's feet. The box tumbles open. Inside, a ring glints under the flickering candles. No one moves. Serafina's mouth parts in silent horror. Vivian's furious stare flicks from Alma to Everett and then back again. Alma's voice comes out in a shaky whisper that echoes across the towering arches of stained glass. "You said you'd never forget me." Her words twist with rage, heartbreak, and something else, betrayal. Everett can't move. He steps back, his polished shoes scraping the marble floor. The weight of every broken promise, every deception, seems to press against his chest. Cameras flash. Some guests covertly record on their phones, capturing every second of this raw spectacle. Alma looks at Serafina, face etched with sorrow. She utters just 4 words. "You deserve the truth." In a burst of commotion, ushers try to intervene. Alma staggers. She's faint from either emotional overload or physical strain. Before she collapses, we catch one glimpse of her silhouette, a pregnant figure, tears sliding down her cheeks, and a ring on her own finger that matches the one she threw. The hush is shattered by collective gasps as she hits the cold marble. Cut. Silence so thick you could choke on it. Then the chaotic scramble, medical calls, whispered curses, worried murmurs. The bride's perfect day just took a brutal turn. And in that moment, a single question grips everyone's mind. Who is this woman, and how did this wedding become her personal battleground? Shock delivered. No context given. The audience must watch further to understand how it all came to be. 3 months earlier, Alma Rivera stands in the Blackwell Enterprises lobby, scanning her phone for any sign of approval on her marketing pitch. She's just been told that her trial period as a contractor is over. No explanation, no severance. She's wearing the same black blazer she's worn every day for a year. Alma checks her reflection in the sleek glass walls. Tired eyes. Overworked. This job was supposed to be her stepping stone, a chance to break into corporate America. Instead, the corporate door is slamming in her face. Harvey Kane, a junior analyst and one of Alma's few friends in the company, rushes to her side. "I'm so sorry," he says quietly, glancing around to make sure no one's listening. Vivian Blackwell gave the order herself. Said your services were no longer required. Alma clenches her fists. She doesn't want to believe it, but she's heard rumors of how tightly Vivian controls her son's life and how she eliminates anyone who doesn't fit the Blackwell standard. Alma doesn't have an Ivy League degree. She doesn't have family connections. She's a self-made marketing whiz who survived on grit. Did they say why? Alma asks, voice trembling. Harvey shakes his head. Just that your contract is up. She knows that's a cover. Until a week ago, Everett Blackwell was praising her ideas in team meetings. He told her she had talent. They'd even shared coffee breaks where the conversation felt more personal than professional. Now, suddenly, she's persona non grata. There's an air of quiet cruelty in how the upper floors of Blackwell Enterprises operate. Alma has witnessed interns vanish overnight and hush-hush severance deals go around. She never imagined she'd be next, especially after spending late nights refining proposals that Everett himself championed. Security arrives. Two uniformed men who politely escort her to the elevator, letting her know she can collect her final check by mail. A flush of embarrassment burns her cheeks. On the ride down, she sees her reflection again, a talented marketer who dared to dream big, but apparently collided with a glass ceiling erected by an iron-willed matriarch. The injustice stings. She steps off the elevator and into the bustling Manhattan street. Wind whips her hair. It's summer, yet she feels chilled to the bone. In her phone's reflection, she notices she looks on the verge of tears. A passing glance at the Blackwell logo above the skyscraper entrance makes her stomach twist. She's been cast aside, possibly for reasons she can't confirm, but she suspects that maybe, just maybe, her growing closeness to Everett made someone up there nervous. Alma inhales, trying to steady herself. She doesn't know what to do next. All she knows is that she's been wronged. Somewhere behind those glass walls, the seeds of heartbreak are being sown. That evening, Alma meets Harvey at a small cafe near Midtown. The place is cozy, with dim lights and rickety chairs that squeak whenever someone shifts. They choose a corner table by the window, away from prying ears. Harvey's voice shakes a little as he explains the rumor Vivian Blackwell discovered that Alma was a distraction to Everett. Alma's heart pounds. Did she and Everett really appear that close? Sure, they shared a few laughs, brainstorming sessions, but no lines had been crossed, unless it felt different to him than it did to her. Harvey sips his coffee. You remember the day Everett took you to the investor luncheon? People noticed. Vivian noticed. Alma sets her cup down. The memory surfaces a big meeting with potential partners. Everett insisted on having her present the marketing insights, praising her brilliance. They rode in his car, discussed future plans. She can still recall how he looked at her, a softness in his eyes that felt dangerously personal. So that's it, Alma murmurs. I'm out because I got too close, Harvey nods, pulling out a manila folder. I managed to copy some of your marketing pitch files from the shared drive. I thought you might want them so you can use them as a portfolio for your next gig. Alma thanks him, eyes brimming with gratitude. Harvey is that silent observer who's witnessed her ups and downs. He doesn't have power to fix anything, but he stands by her. Outside, neon lights flicker across the wet streets. Alma tries to hold on to her composure, but her mind races. She's not just losing a contract, she's losing the chance to prove herself. Her family back in Colorado depends on her support. She left everything behind to chase this career in New York. Harvey's face darkens. I've also heard a rumor. Vivian wants Everett engaged to Serafina Kingsley soon. If so, she'll cut off every possible threat, and that includes you. The air in Alma's lungs vanishes for a moment. She forces a chuckle. Engaged, wow, I guess that's how dynasties merge. But behind the forced humor, a tiny pang of loss flickers in her chest. She never admitted it out loud, but a part of her was drawn to Everett's kindness. She can still feel that subtle, unspoken chemistry they shared in late-night meetings. As they part ways, Harvey gives her a final warning. Be careful. The Blackwells have a long reach. Alma nods, stepping back into the night. She wonders if she's glimpsed only the tip of the iceberg and what deeper injustices lie beneath. In a cramped studio apartment on the Lower East Side, Alma stares at her reflection in the bathroom mirror. Pale face, tired eyes. She's too anxious to sleep. She retrieves a small jewelry box from her bedside drawer. Inside it is a ring, a simple band with a modest diamond. It's not expensive, but it was given to her by someone she'd once trusted deeply back home. She'd ended that relationship to move to New York, chasing bigger dreams. Tonight, the ring feels heavier than usual in her hand. She thinks about Everett, about the intangible pull she felt around him. Then she shakes her head, scolding herself. He's not yours to dream about, she whispers. He's a billionaire's heir, and you're nobody. She places the ring back in the box. Something about the band's quiet sparkle triggers a thought. Maybe one day she'll earn enough success to buy her own ring, a symbol of independence. But for now, her finances are bleak. She just lost her job, has rent due, and the credit card bills keep stacking up. Glancing at her phone, she notices a missed call from an unknown number. Her heart skips. Could it be Everett? Maybe he's reaching out, wanting to help or at least explain, but no voicemail was left. She sets the phone down with a sigh. She contemplates calling him directly, but fears being labeled a stalker or a gold digger. The corporate rumor mill is vicious. And with Vivian Blackwell's iron grip on everything, Alma suspects any phone lines to Everett might be closely monitored. Outside, thunder rumbles. Rain splashes against the window. Alma sinks onto her worn-out couch, hugging a pillow to her chest. She knows the world is rarely fair, especially for someone without a safety net. She's tasted success, and now she's tasting the bitterness of losing it all in the blink of an eye. Lightning illuminates the tiny room. Alma's mind flickers back to that day at the investor luncheon. She remembers how Everett placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder when she stumbled over a slide deck. "You've got this," he whispered, a smile dancing in his eyes. She felt genuine support in that moment, like she mattered. Now she's unsure if she ever really mattered, or if she was just another pawn in a larger game. She swallows the lump in her throat, determined to keep her dignity. "They might have kicked me out," she murmurs, "but I'm not done." A hint of resolve sparks in her eyes. She'll rebuild her career if it kills her. For a fleeting second, she even entertains the notion of unveiling the truth about the Blackwell family's power plays. But that's a dangerous path. Still, the ring rests in its box, like a silent witness to all her unspoken dreams. 2 weeks later, Alma sits across from a new potential client in a small, underfunded nonprofit. She's pitching her marketing expertise for a modest retainer. She needs any project she can land. Her phone buzzes in the middle of her pitch. She discreetly glances at the screen. The caller ID reads private number. She ignores it, forcing a smile as she explains the nonprofit's potential brand revamp. She's determined to power through, but the phone keeps buzzing. The tension in the tiny office thickens. Finally, the nonprofit's director nods politely, indicating she can take the call. Apologizing, Alma steps out into the hallway. She answers. Static crackles. Then a woman's voice, low and urgent. "Miss Rivera, you don't know me, but you need to stay away from Everett Blackwell. You're in over your head." Her stomach tightens. Who is this clique? The line goes dead, chilled. She returns to the office, but her composure is rattled. She stumbles through the rest of her presentation, voice wavering. The nonprofit director thanks her for her time but looks uncertain, as if sensing Alma's sudden nerves. Outside, she stands on the curb, heart pounding. The city roars around her taxis, street vendors, and the constant blur of people. Alma wonders if she's become a target. Did Vivian hire someone to threaten her? Or is this some other piece of Everett's complicated life? Despite the fear, a flash of concern crosses her mind. Is Everett in trouble? A strange twist of protectiveness rises. She hates how her heart still cares. Even after all that's happened, she remembers the hush-hush stories in the Blackwell building, questionable deals in Eastern Europe, rumored bribes to keep shipping contracts afloat, and secret alliances. Could that be part of it? Or is it simpler, just a protective mother trying to muzzle a potential scandal under the neon sign of a nearby diner? Alma takes a seat and orders black coffee. She sips it, letting the bitterness ground her thoughts. She's lived her entire life on the defensive, always trying to prove she deserves her place at the table. Now she's being told to back off without knowing what she's supposedly interfering with. Deep down, she feels a flicker of defiance. She's lost her job, her sense of security, and maybe even part of her heart to the Blackwells. Should she just run, or should she find out what's really going on? If only to protect herself from further blindsides. Quietly, she decides I need answers not for Everett's sake, but for her own. That night, she starts compiling everything she learned during her contract at Blackwell Enterprises. File after file, note after note. If they're threatening her, she wants something to fight back with, even if it's just knowledge. The next day, Alma gets a call from an old friend back in Colorado, Ava Delgado, who practically grew up with her. They chat about family updates, about how Alma's mother worries she's getting too thin. It's a sweet, grounding moment. Then Ava gently prods. So how's the big city gig? Alma tries to sidestep the question, but ends up admitting she lost her position. Ava hears the pain in Alma's voice, urging her to come home if it gets too rough. Alma laughs it off, but once she hangs up, tears threaten. Home, it's where her ex-fiancé proposed, where she first believed in bigger dreams. She left all that behind, convinced her future was in Manhattan's towers of glass. Now she's jobless, possibly blacklisted, and haunted by cryptic warnings. She rummages through a shoebox of keepsakes, stumbling upon old photos, her father teaching her to ride a horse, her mother beaming with pride at Alma's high school graduation. She sees a younger version of herself, full of hope, eyes brimming with ambition. In the stack, there's also a photo of her ex-fiancé, Elliot Green. They were so young, smiling in front of a local carnival. She recalls how she ended things to chase her career dreams. Did she make the right choice? Or was she always chasing illusions? A sudden wave of guilt hits. She left that ring in a box because it symbolized a promise she felt unworthy to keep. But now she's in a tangled situation with an unattainable billionaire. Life took a wild turn. Her phone buzzes again, another unknown number. This time she answers, hoping it's a potential client. Instead, a male voice. Stay away from Everett Blackwell. This is your last warning. Alma's hand shakes. She demands to know who it is, but the caller disconnects. She slams the phone down, breath short. Now she's sure the Blackwell family or their associates want her silent. But about what, she's no longer employed. So how can she be a threat unless they think she knows more than she does? Despite the fear, her mind drifts to Everett. Could he be as trapped as she feels? Was his kindness genuine or a facade? There's a swirl of confusion between them, something unsaid but powerful. Alma presses a hand to her temple. I won't let them bully me, she mutters. Her voice cracks with both fear and fury. That night, she begins drafting an email to a high-profile journalist she once met at a Blackwell charity event. She hesitates before sending. Is she really prepared to expose them? She leaves the draft unsent, uncertain if she's ready for all-out war. Vivian Blackwell strides through the marble foyer of her penthouse, phone pressed to her ear. The city skyline gleams behind her. She's in crisis management mode, snapping orders. Find out where Miss Rivera is living, Vivian says coolly, and ensure she poses no risk. She ends the call, satisfaction curling her lips. Just then, Everett steps inside. He's overheard the tail end of her command. You're spying on Alma, he demands, voice tight with concern. Vivian's features harden. Spying, don't be melodramatic. I'm protecting our family name. You have a fiancé to consider, Serafina, and a corporation to lead. We can't let some disgruntled contractor throw mud at us. Everett flinches. He's never liked his mother's methods, but the mention of Serafina jolts him. She's a family friend he's known for years, and there are indeed talks of an upcoming engagement. He rubs his temple. Alma is harmless, he insists. She was talented, that's all. You fired her without cause. Vivian arches an eyebrow. Talented, yes, but she was getting ideas above her station, and you were encouraging her. A flush of guilt crosses his face. I never crossed a line. Your father once told me that lines don't have to be crossed to become problematic. Vivian replies smoothly. She steps forward, gaze unyielding. It was handled. Let's leave it at that. Everett exhales, shoulders tense. A flicker of anger surfaces. I told you not to meddle in my personal affairs. Vivian's laugh is light, but her eyes remain cold. You are my only son, Everett. Everything we've built rides on your reputation. Think about that the next time you consider helping Miss Rivera. Everett storms out. Despite being a grown man, he often feels overshadowed by Vivian's imposing presence. He loves his mother, but resents the empire built on quiet manipulations. In the elevator down to the garage, he thinks of Alma's bright smile, her lively passion during presentations. He wonders if she's okay. Did she land on her feet, or is she struggling? An uneasy pang tugs at him. He scrolls through his phone contacts, noticing that Alma's number is gone. Did his mother delete it? In a moment of defiance, he resolves to check on her. He'll reach out through Harvey, or any means necessary, not because he wants to stir trouble, but because his conscience can't let her get steamrolled by the family machine. Meanwhile, Vivian stands at the penthouse window, watching his car pull away. She's lived her whole life ensuring the Blackwell name remains untarnished. If protecting that means crushing a single mother's aspirations, or so she believes Alma to be, then so be it. She isn't aware that her plan to remove threats may create the very scandal she's desperate to avoid. Later that week, Alma is sitting at her local laundromat, flipping through want ads. The whir of machines and the clank of loose coins fill the background. She can't help feeling the sting of disappointment each time she sees another job listing that's either out of reach or paying far too little. Her phone buzzes. A text from Harvey. Can you talk something urgent? EB wants your number. She stares at the letters, B, Everett Blackwell. Her heart jolts. She taps back. Why Harvey's reply comes quickly. He's worried about you. Also wants to share some info. Are you open to meeting Alma's mind races? Could this be an olive branch? Or a trap orchestrated by Vivian to corner her into signing a non-disclosure agreement? She chews her lip, thinking of the cryptic threats. Then a second text from Harvey. He said he owes you an apology. Apology. The word gnaws at her. Apology for what, firing her, or something deeper, like ignoring the feelings that were starting to spark between them. She decides to take a small risk. She texts Harvey back, consenting to pass her personal email to Everett. She refuses to give out her new phone number, just in case. For a few days, nothing happens. Then one morning, an email lands in her inbox. Subject, I'd like to see you, from Everett Blackwell. Alma, I realize this might be unwelcome, but I need to talk to you face to face. There are misunderstandings on both sides. I want to help if I can. Please meet me at Maplewood Cafe, Thursday at 2 p.m. Everett. Alma's fingers tremble over the keyboard. Is this a lifeline or a new heartbreak waiting to happen? She sets the laptop aside, anxiety coiling in her gut. If she goes, she risks stepping onto a battlefield without the Blackwell family. If she doesn't go, she might never get the closure or the help she needs. For a woman who's basically unemployed and alone in a ruthless city, any open door could be critical. Ultimately, Alma decides to go. She tells no one but Harvey, who promises to keep his phone on in case anything goes sideways. Her reflection in the laundromat's glass door shows a woman fighting fear with fragile hope. She's about to walk back into the orbit of the man who nearly destroyed her budding career, yet might be the only one to save it. Thursday arrives. The Maplewood Cafe is a quiet place with warm lighting and rustic decor. Alma steps inside, scanning the tables. She spots Everett in a corner booth, wearing a simple navy blazer, far from the corporate pomp she remembers. He rises when she approaches, offering a tentative smile. She studies him. He looks tired, tension pulling at his brow. There's an awkward hush before she slides into the seat across from him. So she starts, folding her hands to stop them from shaking. What's so important that you had to see me? Everett exhales. Alma, I didn't know my mother fired you until it was done. And I certainly didn't know about any hush order on your contract. I feel like I failed you. I should have intervened. Alma snorts softly. Failed me, I'd say so. One day you're praising my work. The next day I'm marched out by security. He grimaces. I tried to fix it behind the scenes, but my mother, let's just say she's determined. I want to make amends somehow. She arches an eyebrow, skepticism radiating from her. Amends. I appreciate the sentiment, but your family's influence extends everywhere. If Vivian put me on a blacklist, good luck reversing it. He nods, looking genuinely contrite. I can get you into a new position, or at least help you network. Alma's jaw tightens. That's your solution. A reference from the same family that terminated me. People will think I'm your charity case. Everett leans forward, voice quiet. Then tell me what you want. Name it, and I'll do it. For a moment, she's speechless. She expected arrogance, not humility. She folds her arms. I want to know the truth. Why did your mother consider me a threat? His gaze drops. We were close. I didn't recognize how it looked from the outside. She thought you'd disrupt some future plans, my engagement to Serafina. At the mention of Serafina, Alma's pulse spikes with a confusing mix of anger and hurt. So that's official. Everett shrugs, frustration lining his face. It's complicated. Nothing's set in stone, but our families want it. Alma tries to hide the pang in her chest. She lifts her coffee cup to her lips, tasting bitterness. I see, so I was an obstacle to your corporate marriage. He doesn't deny it. Instead, his voice softens. Alma, I never meant for you to be collateral damage. I admired your brilliance. Honestly, He stops, swallowing his words. She sets her cup down with a resolute clink. I'm tired of half-truths, Everett. If you want to help, then keep your mother away from me. Clear my name if she's spreading lies. That's all. I'm done with Blackwell Enterprises. Everett nods, though regret clouds his eyes. I can do that, and if you ever, but Alma stands abruptly. She said her piece. She doesn't want to linger in this emotional minefield. She leaves him with the check. Exiting the city, Alma's heart is pounding. She half expects Vivian's security to swoop in. But the sidewalk is just a blur of passing strangers. She inhales the city air, trying to steady herself. Across the street, she spots a familiar figure. It's not Harvey, no. It's someone else, half hidden behind a newspaper stand, watching her. She can't see the face clearly, but her instincts scream that she's being followed. Alarmed, she flags down a taxi. Inside, she glances back, but the figure is gone. Maybe she's paranoid, or maybe the Blackwell shadow runs deeper. She heads to a small park near her apartment. Settling on a bench, she opens her phone. No new calls, no threatening messages. Good. She thinks about Everett's expression, the sincerity in his voice. Could he really help her? A conflicting swirl of emotions surges. Part of her hates him for being passive, letting his mother do the dirty work. Another part remembers how he once made her feel valued. It's maddening. Out of habit, she composes a text to Harvey Met EB. He says he'll fix the damage. Not holding my breath, though. Harvey replies almost instantly. He asked me to look into some PR openings for you. Might be genuine. Alma stares at the words. Genuine? She wonders if Everett's intentions are purely altruistic, or if he's trying to ease his guilt. She stands to leave, and that's when she feels a wave of dizziness. Nausea rises, sudden and fierce. She stumbles to a public restroom, heart thudding. Inside, she grips the sink, breath ragged. Her reflection is pale, sweat beading on her forehead. When the wave passes, she braces herself, mind racing. Stress, maybe. She's been under tremendous pressure. But a quiet, nagging thought slips in. What if it's not just stress? She checks the calendar on her phone. Her last cycle date. She counts the weeks. A flicker of realization emerges, followed by denial. That can't be right. She and Everett never. But no, that was an impulsive night, one glass of wine, too many after an intense project victory. Panic sets in. She rushes to the nearest drugstore, practically trembling as she buys a pregnancy test. She can barely breathe. If she's pregnant with Everett's child, everything changes again. Alma sits on her bathroom floor, staring at the test result. Positive, her mind reels. The plastic stick might as well be a grenade that just exploded her entire life plan. She thinks back to that night weeks ago. They'd been celebrating a major milestone in marketing projections. One thing led to another, and she shakes her head, tears welling up. It was reckless, but it happened. Her phone buzzes. Another message from an unknown number. We warned you to stay away. Do not contact Everett again. She clenches her fists, tears burning her eyes. Now there's more at stake than just her career. There's an unborn child in the mix. She paces the cramped apartment. She can barely afford rent, no job security, and she's pregnant by a man who might already be engaged to someone else. Fear, anger, and heartbreak swirl. She recalls that ring in her drawer, once a symbol of a different path in life. She almost laughs at the irony she left her hometown fiancé to pursue a big career, only to end up pregnant by a billionaire who's tied up in a dynasty. That night, she calls her mother in Colorado. Her mother's voice is warm but concerned. "Mija, come home," she pleads, hearing the worry in Alma's tone. But Alma insists she must handle this on her own. She contemplates telling Everett right away. But then she remembers Vivian's menacing influence, the phone threats, and the newly minted engagement rumor. If she reveals the pregnancy, would he step up or deny everything? Desperation creeps in. She's out of medical insurance. The private coverage offered by Blackwell Enterprises ended the day she was terminated. She can't afford to be unemployed and pregnant. In a burst of emotion, she calls Harvey. He's stunned. He urges her to let Everett know immediately. If he's half the man you say he is, he won't turn his back on his child. But Alma's not sure if that's true. She's seen the corporate side of him, the part that appeases the family. She fears being labeled a gold digger. She fears Vivian's wrath. She fears everything. She looks at the pregnancy test again, tears slipping down her cheeks. This isn't just about her career or her pride anymore. There's a tiny life relying on her choices. Late into the night, she composes a letter for Everett, explaining the situation. She doesn't send it, though. She tucks it in an envelope, planning to deliver it in person if she musters the courage. The city lights glimmer outside her window, mocking her turmoil. She holds her stomach, whispering, "I promise. I'll figure this out for us." Daylight brings a small reprieve. Alma heads to a riverside park to clear her mind. The breeze off the water is cool, carrying a hint of autumn. She needs clarity. Harvey meets her by a bench overlooking the Hudson. He's out of breath, tie askew, as if he rushed from the office. "I have an update," he says, cheeks flushed. "Vivian's been making moves. She's planning a massive launch event with Serafina. Word is, this might be the big engagement announcement." Alma's throat tightens. She tries to remain calm, but everything inside her screams. If Everett formally announces his engagement, the door might slam shut on her ever finding support. She turns to Harvey, voice trembling. "Harvey, I'm pregnant." He stares, processing her words. "Oh, wow." His tone softens. "Alma, does Everett know?" She shakes her head, tears brimming. "Not yet. I'm terrified to tell him. What if he thinks I'm trapping him?" Harvey places a hand on her shoulder. "Hey, you have a right to share the truth. This child is as much his as yours." She frowns, glancing at the water's surface. "I know. But Vivian," Harvey sighs. "Yeah, she'll do anything to protect the family image. But you can't let her control you. You have a voice here." Alma nods slowly. "I wrote him a letter. I can't decide how or when to deliver it." Harvey hesitates. "Tomorrow is the big corporate gala at the Crown View Hotel. Everyone will be there. Vivian, Everett, Serafina. Maybe it's a crazy idea, but sometimes cornering him in a public space is safer. They can't strong-arm you with so many eyes around." The notion makes Alma's stomach churn. Crashing a gala feels reckless. But she pictures herself sending an email or text that Vivian could intercept, or trying to meet Everett in private only to be ambushed by security. She half laughs, half cries. "So you're suggesting I put on my best dress, sneak into a billion-dollar event, and quietly tell the heir to the Blackwell fortune that I'm carrying his child? Sounds like a Hollywood script." Harvey shrugs with a weak grin. "At least you'll be in a public space. They can't just toss you out, not without making a scene." Alma sighs heavily, anxiety coiling in her chest. She pictures the baby's future growing up without a father's acknowledgement or with a father forced by blackmail. Neither sounds right. She needs to do this the right way, but she isn't sure what that is. Still, a hint of determination sparks. She won't be invisible anymore. She has to fight for this child's rightful place, even if it means facing the Blackwell Empire head-on. That evening, Alma sits at her rickety table, drafting a plan for tomorrow's gala infiltration. She only has one decent dress, navy blue, knee-length, from a discount rack. It's hardly high fashion, but it'll have to do. She calls the Crown View Hotel to see if there's any open registration for the event. No, the gala is strictly invite only. Still, she might slip in if she times it right. Maybe she can blend with the crowd or ask Harvey to help. She stares at these bullet points as if they're a mantra. She doesn't want to blow up Everett's life. She just wants him to know, to step up, to be involved. If he refuses, at least she tried. Her phone lights up with an incoming message from a blocked number. Tomorrow's event is off limits, Mrs. Rivera. You have been warned. Her heart stutters. They know she's planning something. But how did they tap her phone, follow her in the park? Fear presses in, but so does a fierce maternal instinct. She's not just protecting herself. She's protecting a future child. She presses a hand against her abdomen. It's still too early to show much, but she can't ignore the reality inside of her. I can't let them scare me, she whispers. In an unexpected burst of solidarity, she opens her email and dashes off a message to Everett, hinting that they need to speak tomorrow at the gala. She hits send before she can lose her nerve. Part of her expects immediate retaliation, a call from Vivian or security guards at her door. But nothing happens. She stands by the window, watching the city lights flicker. It's like waiting for a storm to break. Early dawn's light finds her awake, adrenaline pumping. She chooses to see this confrontation as her last stand for justice. She'll face Everett in front of the entire upper echelon of Manhattan society if that's what it takes. In her mind, she braces for war. Tomorrow could change everything. Nighttime drapes over the Crown View Hotel in a cascade of glittering city lights. Inside, the grand ballroom hums with elite guests, financiers, socialites, and corporate titans. The chandeliers glow golden. A string quartet plays softly near the velvet-draped stage. Tables are set with crystal stemware and carefully folded napkins. Alma stands outside in a modest navy dress, heart pounding. She rehearses her plan slip inside. Find Everett. Deliver the news face-to-face before Vivian can intercept. She's not sure how she'll get past the doormen, who've got a guest list on digital tablets. Anxiety roils in her gut. This place is worlds away from her usual haunts. Beside the main doors, she notices limousines arriving in a steady stream. Photographers snap pictures of luminaries in tuxedos and designer gowns. To the side, she sees a line of less notable guests waiting to check in. That's where she heads. The doorman scans each person's digital invitation. Alma steps forward, forcing a confident smile. She says she's with the nonprofit Friends of the Harbor, which Harvey mentioned might have invites. Her heart flutters. She hopes they're on the official list. The doorman looks at his screen. A moment of tension, then he nods. Your name, please. She hands him a business card with her name. It's the last piece of her battered marketing identity. The doorman types. Another beat of silence. Alma's breath catches. Finally, the doorman waves her through. Relief floods her. She's in. Stepping into the lobby is like entering a different realm. Tall marble pillars, gold accents, and a massive arrangement of roses greet her. She steels herself. If her presence is discovered too soon, Vivian might have security throw her out. She heads to the ballroom, scanning the crowd for Everett. Instead, she spots a figure she recognizes from press photos, Serafina Kingsley, radiant in a champagne-colored gown. On her arm is Vivian Blackwell, exuding the poise of old money. Both are smiling for a small group of reporters. The camera flashes catch every angle. Alma's pulse quickens. She ducks behind a marble column, not wanting to be spotted yet. She takes a moment to observe, Serafina's posture is regal, her smile polished. But there's a flicker of hesitation in her eyes, as if she's bracing herself for something. Vivian gestures to a staff member, clearly giving instructions. Alma can't hear, but the staffer nods and walks off quickly. Could they already suspect she's here? The thought unsettles her. At last, she sees Everett near the bar, dressed in a tailored midnight blue tux. He's chatting with a cluster of well-dressed businessmen. His shoulders seem tense. He glances around, like he's searching for someone. Alma wonders if he's looking for her. She slips through the crowd, determined to reach him. Each step resonates with the knowledge that everything hinges on this conversation. A child's future and her own depend on what happens tonight. Just as Alma nears Everett, Serafina appears from the side, hooking her arm through his. Alma freezes, heart thudding. Serafina looks dazzling under the ballroom lights, her sleek hair pulled back in an elegant chignon. She leans in close to Everett, murmuring something that makes him laugh politely, though his eyes remain distant. Alma debates whether to retreat, but time is short. She steps forward, voice unsteady yet resolved. Everett. He turns, eyes widening in surprise. For a heartbeat, relief floods his expression, like he's glad she made it. Then he notices Serafina's curious glance and the cluster of watchers behind them. He tenses. Alma, he says quietly. You came. Serafina's gaze flicks between them, poised but clearly curious. She lifts her chin. We haven't met. I'm Serafina Kingsley. Her tone is cordial yet laced with a hint of suspicion. Alma forces a polite nod. Alma Rivera. There's an awkward beat. The well-heeled onlookers eye the trio with interest. Sensing tension, Alma can practically taste their judgment. She speaks before she loses her nerve. Everett, can we talk somewhere private? He glances at Serafina, who arches a brow. Is there something I should know? Serafina's question hangs in the air. Everett's lips part, but Alma steps in. It's a work matter. Alma lies, hoping to deflect Serafina's curiosity. Just a quick conversation about a project. Serafina's smile is polite but not convinced. Work, didn't you leave Blackwell Enterprises? Alma swallows. She sees Everett's discomfort deepening. He says, Alma had a major role in some of our previous projects. Let's step aside for a moment. Serafina catches his arm. She doesn't look angry, more concerned. We've got that announcement soon. Don't disappear. Everett. He gives her a small nod. I won't. With that, he gently leads Alma out of earshot. They find a quieter corner near the service doors. Waitstaff bustle past, carrying trays of champagne. The hum of music and chatter persists just beyond them. Alma's pulse is racing. She can't help noticing the warm pressure of Everett's hand lightly guiding her elbow familiar. Supportive, yet overshadowed by the presence of Serafina. Once they're semi-alone, Everett leans in, voice low. Are you all right? You look nervous. Alma steadies herself. I need to talk to you about something important, and it can't wait. He glances back at Serafina, who is now engaged with guests. Let's find somewhere quieter. This place is crawling with reporters. She nods, hoping they can slip away unnoticed. But she senses eyes on them, subtle yet piercing. She wonders if Vivian has already spotted her. Everett motions toward a hallway leading to a set of private meeting rooms. Alma follows, heart pounding. She rehearses the words in her mind, I'm pregnant. It's yours. She's run through a dozen scenarios, but none feel safe in this pressure cooker environment. Still, she knows she can't leave the gala without telling him. Too much is at stake. They barely make it down the hallway before a figure steps into their path. Vivian Blackwell, regal in a floor-length black gown, stares at Alma with chilling composure. Everett, she says smoothly, her voice tinged with accusation. Who is your guest? Alma's stomach knots. She meets Vivian's gaze, trying not to flinch under the matriarch's scrutiny. Everett clears his throat, forging a careful smile. Mother, this is Alma Rivera, a former consultant on our marketing team. We need to discuss something briefly. Vivian's eyes narrow, but she maintains a veneer of politeness. Miss Rivera, I see you've managed to attend our private event. She doesn't ask now. She knows. Alma musters her composure. I'm here for a work-related matter. Mrs. Blackwell. The half-truth tastes bitter. She's no longer officially working with them, but she sees no safer explanation. Vivian's lips form a tight smile. Work, indeed. Perhaps this discussion can wait until after the announcements. We wouldn't want to spoil Serafina's special moment, would we? Everett tenses. Mother, please. We'll be just a few minutes. A subtle shift in Vivian's posture reveals her growing hostility. Everett, I think Serafina might feel slighted if you vanish now. It's her big night. Our big night. She cuts a warning glance at Alma, like a wolf guarding its den. Alma's heart pounds. She senses Vivian is stalling, trying to isolate or intimidate her. She clenches her fists. She won't leave until Everett hears the truth. I just need 5 minutes. Vivian steps closer, voice barely above a whisper. Miss Rivera, you've already had more time in this family's orbit than you deserve. I suggest you leave immediately. Everett shoots his mother a look of shock. Stop it, he snaps under his breath, anger flashing. Alma has a right to speak. Vivian's glare hardens. Yes, dear. But not tonight, Diamoa. This event is critical for Blackwell Enterprises. Any disruption would be catastrophic. She says it softly, yet it's a threat. Alma trembles, adrenaline coursing. She's faced bullies before, but none so polished, so powerful. Her voice shakes with quiet determination. I'm not here to cause a scene. I only want to talk to Everett. For a second, Vivian's mask slips, revealing cold fury. Then she regains her composure. We'll settle this later. Discreetly. Everett sets his jaw, turning to Alma. Give me a minute. I'll meet you in the side corridor by the service elevator. Okay. Alma hesitates, but eventually nods. She slips away, leaving mother and son to their standoff. Vivian steps in front of Everett, blocking his path. Their voices carry in hushed tones. You will not sabotage what we've built. Vivian hisses. Mother, you can't keep controlling my life. Everett fires back. Alma glances over her shoulder. She can't make out every word, but she sees the tension thickening. Vivian's hand grips Everett's arm, her nails pressing into his tuck sleeve. Alma turns a corner, her thoughts spiraling. She thought this would be hard, but she didn't anticipate Vivian might physically stop them from talking. Still, she won't give up. Not now. While Alma waits in the corridor, straining to hear any sign of Everett, the ballroom suddenly erupts with applause. A voice booms over the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the stage. Curiosity tugs at her, but caution keeps her pinned to the wall. She peeks around the corner and sees Serafina standing at the microphone, shimmering under the spotlight. Vivian and Everett approach the stage from opposite sides, tension clear in their body language. Serafina smiles broadly, though it doesn't quite reach her eyes. Good evening, everyone. She begins. Tonight, Mahon, we gather not just to celebrate Blackwell Enterprises' partnership with Kingsley Holdings, but to announce a personal alliance as well. A ripple of excitement flutters through the crowd. Cameras flash. Alma's stomach lurches. A personal alliance. She remembers Harvey's warning this might be the engagement reveal. Serafina continues, voice steady. For years, Everett and I have enjoyed a close friendship. Our families have worked side by side to shape the future of global commerce. Now, we're taking that bond to the next level. She reaches out, beckoning Everett. He steps forward, forced grin on his face. His eyes sweep the room, searching. Alma wonders if he's looking for her again, silently pleading for a way out. But the crowd is too large. The glare of spotlights too bright. A hush falls. Serafina slips her arm around his. I'm honored to announce, she says, turning to the audience, that Everett Blackwell and I are, she pauses, possibly for dramatic effect, possibly to gather nerve, officially engaged. Thunderous applause explodes. Photographers snap rapid fire. Serafina flashes her left hand, revealing a sparkling diamond ring that catches every light. Alma's heart hammers. Her worst fear is confirmed. He's engaged publicly, no less. She presses a hand against her abdomen, waves of nausea washing over her. If there was any doubt about telling him tonight, this announcement obliterates it. He's about to be someone else's husband, and she's carrying his child. On stage, Vivian smiles triumphantly, taking the microphone to extol the family's unity. Everett stands there, shoulders rigid. His face is impossible to read in the bright glare, but Alma senses his turmoil. She steps back, out of sight. Emotions swirl betrayal, panic, heartbreak. Now, if she reveals the pregnancy, she'll be seen as the villain who crashed an engagement. Yet how can she stay silent? She exhales shakily, pressing her back against the wall. The applause dies down. People begin crowding around the stage to congratulate them. Alma clenches her fists. She promised herself she wouldn't leave without telling Everett, but the risk just skyrocketed. Still, the child within her deserves a father who knows of its existence. She steels herself, biting back tears. She'll find him, even if it means walking into the lion's den. The clamor of congratulations echoes like thunder in Alma's ears. She retreats toward the side corridor, feeling her chest tighten. She tries to regulate her breathing, but can't shake the sense of impending disaster. She imagines the headlines if anyone uncovers her presence. Scorned ex-employee crashes gala. Worse, she can picture how Vivian might spin this, an unstable woman, desperate for attention, gate-crashing a family celebration. Her phone vibrates in her clutch. She glances at the screen, a text from Harvey. "Where are you? I see the engagement's official. Are you okay?" She types back with trembling fingers. "Not really. Need 5 minutes alone with Everett. Don't know how." A wave of dizziness blurs her vision. She leans on a nearby marble statue, forcing steady breaths. She must keep it together. She's not leaving until she's told him. Her phone buzzes again, another unknown number. She debates ignoring it, but answers on impulse. The voice is distorted, as if masked. "Get out now. Alma, you're making a grave mistake." She cuts the call, hands shaking with anger and fear. Enough. She's tired of being threatened into silence. If they want her gone, that means her truth is dangerous. A pair of waitstaff hustle by with trays of champagne. Alma flags one down, so, "Excuse me," she says quietly. "Do you know if there's a small meeting room nearby where Mr. Everett Blackwell might go? We had a scheduled discussion." She tries to look composed, hoping they'll believe her. The waiter points down a hallway. The Westwood room is sometimes used for private talks. Left after the big statue. Alma thanks him. She heads that way, weaving through the service corridors. Her heels echo on polished floors. The bustle of the gala fades behind her. She passes a grand statue of some historical figure, then finds a door marked Westwood Room. She tests the handle. It's unlocked. The room is dim, lights off. She slips inside, flicking the switch. The overhead lamp illuminates a modest boardroom table and a few plush chairs. A sense of relief washes over her, somewhere quiet. At last. Alma closes the door halfway, steeling herself to text Everett. She types Westwood Room. Need to talk. Please come alone. She hits send, heart hammering in her chest. She doesn't know if he'll respond or if Vivian has commandeered his phone, but this is her best shot. Leaning against the table, she rubs her temples. The day's stress weighs heavily. She thinks about the baby again. How will she raise a child alone if Everett turns his back, or if the Blackwells bury her in legal threats? Her phone dings, a reply from Everett. "I'm coming. Give me a minute." Relief collides with panic. She's out of time to rehearse. In moments, he'll walk through that door, newly engaged, and she'll have to deliver news that could tear his world apart. The door creaks open, revealing Everett's silhouette against the dim hallway. He slips inside, closing it softly behind him. His face is flushed, tie slightly askew. He looks like a man pulled in too many directions at once. Alma, he says, stepping closer. What's so urgent I can't stay long? There's a queue of people expecting me. She swallows, summoning every ounce of courage. Everett, I'm pregnant. The silence is deafening. His eyes widen in shock. He blinks, as if he's not sure he heard correctly. Then he exhales a shuddering breath. Pregnant, he repeats, voice barely audible. Alma's hands tremble. Yes, it's yours. His face goes slack, waves of emotion flickering disbelief, fear, maybe a flicker of awe. He runs a hand through his hair, stepping back like the news physically struck him. Are you sure? She nods, tears forming in her eyes. I'm positive I took a test. It's been weeks since. She trails off, referencing the night they were together. Everett sinks into one of the chairs, elbows on his knees. I had no idea, he murmurs. His voice cracks. God, I don't know what to say. Alma swallows hard. I know your life is complicated. I know you just announced your engagement. A wave of bitterness slips out with those words. But this child is real. I'm not asking for a scandal. I just need you to know. He looks up, eyes filling with a conflicted mixture of guilt and concern. Alma, I wouldn't abandon you. I won't. This changes everything. She almost lets herself hope. But the memory of that stage, Serafina's ring, and Vivian's iron will weigh heavy. How she asks, you're engaged. Your mother hates me. People have threatened me, told me to stay away. Everett's jaw tightens. Threatened you by phone. She nods, tears sliding down her cheeks. Yes, I'm terrified. But I had to tell you, I can't do this alone. He exhales, hands shaking. Alma, I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to be hurt or threatened. My mother must have gone too far. But I'm torn. He rubs his temples, looking like he wants the earth to swallow him. We just announced the engagement. The entire partnership with Kingsley Holdings is at stake. If I break it off, my mother will. He stops, voice choked by conflicting loyalties. Alma's lip quivers. She kneels next to the chair, meeting his gaze. I'm not asking for a wedding ring. Everett, I'm asking for you to be there for your child, to protect us from your mother's wrath. He closes his eyes, nodding slowly. I will. But I need time to figure out how. Serafina, this engagement is a corporate arrangement. I don't even know if a sudden sound outside the door interrupts him, a soft scuffle, like heels on carpet. Alma's heart jumps. We're not alone, she whispers. A second later, the door swings open with force. In strides Vivian Blackwell, eyes aflame. Behind her, another figure lurks. Alma can't see who it is at first, but she guesses it's one of Vivian's security staff. Everett, Vivian says in a low, controlled fury, how dare you sneak away during such an important night? Her gaze lands on Alma, lips curling. I should have known you were behind this. Alma rises, fear sparking. Mrs. Blackwell. Where? Vivian cuts her off. Turning to Everett, what lies has she told you now that you owe her a job? Money, did she blackmail you with some fabricated story? Everett's face pales. Mother, listen. But Vivian marches forward. No, you listen. Our family's future is in the balance. The Kingsleys are crucial partners. You think you can vanish into a side room with a former contractor and no one will notice. Alma bristles. Anger surging. I'm carrying his child. She blurts, her voice trembling but loud enough to cut through the tension. A shockwave passes through the room. The security staffer steps back, eyes wide. Vivian goes rigid, her carefully composed facade cracking at the edges. She stares at Alma like she's an apparition. Pregnant. Her voice is quiet, deadly calm. How convenient. Everett stands, shoulders squared. It's true. Alma and I. This happened before I even left for Europe last quarter. He glances at Alma, swallowing hard. We can't ignore it. Vivian's hand trembles. She quickly forces it still, though her eyes burn with rage. You fool. She hisses at Everett. Do you realize what you've done? This will destroy our engagement deal if anyone finds out. Serafina's father will pull the contract. The entire partnership will be ruined. Alma's voice trembles with resentment. This baby is your grandchild, and all you can think about is a business deal. Vivian fixes her with a cold glare. And all you can think about is how to leverage your position. Did you plan this, Miss Rivera? Did you trap my son to secure a fortune? Alma recoils. I never asked for money. I lost my job, my health care, everything because of you. The older woman's gaze flares. She exhales sharply, then signals the security man. Escort Miss Rivera out. Immediately. Everett moves between them, raising his voice. No, she's staying. I want to figure this out. Vivian narrows her eyes. You'll do as you're told. Everett, don't forget who built everything you stand to inherit. His chest heaves with anger and shame, torn between loyalty to his mother and the woman carrying his child. Alma watches him, tears in her eyes, silently begging him not to yield. The tension snaps. Vivian steps closer to him, voice low. If you don't remove her, I'll announce this to Serafina's father myself. I'll blame you both for deceit, and you'll lose far more than a partnership. You'll lose everything. Everett stands frozen, fists clenched. Alma's heart pounds. She realizes the power Vivian holds. She can topple him financially and socially with a single phone call. A tear slides down Alma's cheek. She reaches for Everett's hand, but he doesn't move. The silence feels like a knife's edge. Inside the Westwood room, it seems like time has stopped. Vivian's glare is unyielding. Everett stands, trembling with indecision. Alma's eyes shift between them, her pulse hammering in her ears. Finally, Vivian gestures to the security mast again. He steps forward. Miss, please come with me, he says, voice quiet but insistent. Alma tries to stand her ground. Everett, she starts, reaching out for him. He avoids her gaze, voice taut with anguish. I can't do this right now, he mutters. I need time to figure out how to protect you. Protect us. The security man takes Alma's arm gently, but firmly. Tears blur her vision as she realizes Everett isn't stopping them. His face is contorted with agony, but he's letting Vivian remove her. Vivian stands like a judge delivering a final verdict. I'll contact you. Miss Rivera, she says in an icy tone, once we decide on an appropriate arrangement. For now, leave. Quietly. Alma's heart feels like it's being torn in two. She begs Everett with her eyes for a last-minute rescue, but he looks away. She senses he's paralyzed by fear of losing everything. The security man leads her out. The hallway is dim, the noise of the gala distant. Her mind spins. She's just revealed her pregnancy, only to be shoved aside. The father of her child is engaged to another woman and overshadowed by a mother who wields business deals like weapons. Anger and betrayal pulse through her. She considers breaking free, storming back into the ballroom, shouting the truth to the entire crowd. But that might only worsen the child's future, turning them into a scandal no one acknowledges. Within minutes, she's escorted to a rear exit. A staff door opens onto a quiet alley behind the hotel. The security man tries to hand her a business card. Mrs. Blackwell's personal assistant will be in touch, he says awkwardly, avoiding her eyes. Then he disappears inside. The door locks. Alma stands alone in the night, tears streaming down her cheeks. The stench of trash bins and the hum of a distant generator fill the alley. She glances at her phone. Uncertain who to call, Harvey, no. He's still inside. She can't face him now. She leans against the cold brick wall, letting the tears fall. Her mind replays Vivian's words, appropriate arrangement. That likely means hush money, a forced NDA, or even a legal battle for custody if they see her as a threat. She trembles at the thought. A lump rises in her throat. She came for answers, for help, for respect. Instead, she's been discarded like an inconvenience. After a few moments of silent sobs, she steels herself. She won't let them treat her like a disposable pawn. But right now, she feels utterly defeated. She has nowhere to go, no plan. The father of her child just stood by while she was shoved out into the cold. Eventually, she emerges from the alley and flags down a cab. As she slides into the seat, she strokes her belly, fighting for composure. "It's okay," she whispers to the baby. "We're going to be okay." The next morning, Alma wakes up in her cramped apartment with puffy eyes and an empty ache in her chest. She barely slept. Every time she drifted off, nightmares replayed Vivian's glare and Everett's helpless expression. She sits on the edge of her bed, phone in hand. No calls from Everett, no texts, nothing from Harvey, either. She guesses the gala ended. The engagement was celebrated, and her presence was quietly erased from the story. Her mind buzzes with anxious questions. Is Everett speaking to Serafina right now? Confessing the pregnancy? Is he meeting with lawyers, or did he bury his head in the sand, letting Vivian handle it all? Tears threaten again. She pushes them back. She needs to act, not drown in despair. She calls a local clinic, scheduling a prenatal checkup for next week. Even if everything else is in chaos, her baby's health comes first. A knock on the door startles her. She peeks through the peephole and sees no one. When she opens it, she finds a plain envelope on the floor. Inside is a typed note. "Don't push this. You won't win." Her blood runs cold. Another threat, presumably from Vivian's circle, telling her to back off. She clutches the note, outrage simmering. Why do they think she wants a war? All she wanted was honesty and co-parenting. She tosses the note aside, rummaging for the coffee tin in her cabinet. She has just enough grounds for 1 cup. While the coffee drips, she hovers in the small kitchen, mind swirling. She's pregnant, unemployed, and being harassed by powerful people. Could she return to Colorado? But that means giving up any chance that Everett could step in as a father. Memories flash of him looking stricken, almost apologetic, as security led her away. She wonders if he was truly powerless or simply unwilling to risk conflict with his mother. The latter stings more. A beep from her phone, a message from an unknown number. She braces for more threats. Instead, it's a short text. "I'm sorry. I messed up. I'll fix this." Alma's heart leaps and sinks simultaneously. A shred of hope tries to surface, but she can't ignore the pain of last night. She texts back, hands shaking. "How your mother threatened me. I'm done with secrets." Minutes pass with no reply. She tosses her phone onto the couch, exhaustion soaking into her bones. She's not sure how he can fix anything now. The coffee tastes bitter. She stares out the window at the city skyline, a reminder of all her shattered dreams. If Everett truly wants to stand by her, he'll have to stand up to Vivian. She closes her eyes, pressing a hand to her stomach. "We'll find a way, little one," she whispers, though she's far from certain. Across town, in a private penthouse suite, Everett paces like a caged lion. He hasn't slept either. The engagement ring on Serafina's hand is the glaring symbol of the trap he's in. Serafina stands by the window, arms folded, watching him. She's still in her robe, hair disheveled, but her demeanor is calm, controlled. "You're telling me you got a former employee pregnant," she says, voice devoid of judgment or shock, just quiet resignation. Everett stops pacing, nods. "Yes, it happened before any engagement talk, but it doesn't change the reality." She sighs. "You should have told me." "I'm not heartless. Everett, we've known each other a long time. You know I don't want a loveless marriage." He runs a hand over his face. "Serafina, I don't even know what I want anymore. My mother's pushing the corporate alliance. Your father is counting on it." And she steps closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. "My father wants the partnership. I just want to be free. We both grew up in these wealthy families, shaped by their deals and demands. Maybe it's time we choose something else." A flicker of hope sparks in his chest. But then the weight of responsibility crashes in. If we back out now, our families lose billions. My mother's threatened to tear me apart if I sabotage this. Serafina's voice trembles, frustration rising. I'm so tired of being currency in a deal. Yes, the boards will panic, but we have to live with ourselves. Look at you, you're miserable. He exhales shakily. Alma's pregnant. She's scared, too. My mother is bullying her. This isn't who I want to be. But I'm caught in the middle. Serafina studies him. Do you love her? He hesitates, unsure how to label the complex emotions he has for Alma. I care about her. He finally says, we had a genuine connection. Now there's a child involved. She steps back, eyes glistening. I see. He senses her heartbreak, but also a strange relief. She whispers, if you want out of this engagement, Everett, say the word. My father will be furious, but I can handle it. We can both walk away. Everett rubs his temples. It's not just up to me. My mother's threatened to ruin Alma if I disclaim this deal. Serafina's voice grows firm. Then we stand together to protect Alma. I'll talk to my father. He's ambitious, but he's not cruel. We can find a new way to partner, or we walk. Simple as that. A surge of gratitude floods him. He never expected Serafina to be so willing to deviate from the path. He glances at the time on his phone, 7:30 a.m. He's supposed to have a breakfast meeting with Vivian soon. Dread churns in his stomach. With renewed resolve, he looks at Serafina. Thank you, he says softly. I'll make this right. At precisely 8:00 a.m., Everett steps into the elegant dining room of the Blackwell penthouse, where Vivian awaits him. A lavish breakfast spread covers the table: fresh fruit, pastries, smoked salmon. Vivian, however, looks more ready for a hostile takeover than a family meal. She barely glances up from her tablet. Good. You're on time. He sits, tension radiating through him. Mother, we need to talk about Alma. Her posture stiffens. No, we need to talk about your engagement. The media is abuzz with your wonderful announcement. Public sentiment is up. Our stocks even rose a few points. He folds his hands, breathing evenly. That engagement might not happen. Vivian's head snaps up, eyes cold. Excuse me. Everett meets her gaze. I won't abandon Alma or our child. She sets the tablet aside, leaning forward. You are not fathering any child with that woman. You will provide hush money. Sign an NDA if needed. The child can be handled in private. But you will marry Serafina. That's final. His voice quakes with anger. It's not final. Serafina doesn't want a charade either. We talked this morning. She's ready to break the engagement if it means I can do right by Alma. Vivian's composure cracks, a snarl forming on her lips. You foolish boy. The Kingsleys won't be so cooperative once they realize how this affects the bottom line. Do you have any idea how many deals hinge on this marriage? Everett shakes his head in disgust. I don't care. I'm done being a pawn. She stands abruptly, knocking a silver fork to the floor. Then you'll lose your inheritance. Every share, every asset your father left will revert to me. I'll ensure you have nothing. Let's see how loyal Alma remains when you're a pauper. Her venomous words slice through him, but a surge of defiance surfaces. If that's the price, so be it. Vivian's face pales, torn between shock and fury. She sputters. You would throw away your birthright for a woman you barely know. He exhales, voice steadier than he feels. I know her well enough. And there's a child. My child. I won't be another absentee father who drowns responsibilities in money. Vivian presses her palms to the table, voice ice cold. You're making a mistake that will haunt you. Alma will never fit into this world. And that child, if it's even yours, will destroy everything we built. A pained expression crosses his face, but he doesn't back down. I'm not turning my back on them. Either accept it or cut me off. Vivian's eyes blaze. So be it, she says, echoing his words with a lethal calm. I'll draw up legal paperwork to sever your ties to the Blackwell estate. You can walk out of here with nothing. She moves to leave, pausing at the doorway. One last thing, she says. voice trembling with suppressed rage. If you think I won't fight you for custody, think again. The Blackwell name will not be tarnished by the likes of Alma Rivera. With that final threat, she's gone, heels clicking against marble. Everett slumps in his chair, adrenaline draining. He's just triggered a family war. An hour later, Everett calls Serafina from his car, parked outside the Blackwell building. She answers on the first ring. While she asks, tension in her voice, how did she react? He sighs. Not well. She threatened to disinherit me and fight for custody. She's turning this into a battleground. Serafina curses under her breath. I'm sorry, Everett. I had a feeling it'd go this way. He rubs his forehead. Serafina, you don't have to stick your neck out for me. If you want to proceed with the engagement to satisfy your family's business deals, I'll understand. I can't drag you into this mess. There's a pause. I'm not going to marry you just for a contract, she says firmly. Look, my father is furious, but he'll adapt. I told him I won't be forced to wed. I have no desire to be a trophy wife. Gratitude washes over him. Thank you. That means more than you know. They discuss next steps. Serafina suggests a joint statement that they process, dissolving the engagement amicably, focusing on a new corporate structure that doesn't require marriage. Everett agrees it might soften the blow. He steels himself and heads to Alma's apartment. He needs to tell her he's choosing to be there for her and the baby, even if it costs him everything. When he arrives, he finds the door locked, the windows dark. He knocks repeatedly, calling her name. No answer. A neighbor pokes their head out, saying they saw her leave with a suitcase. Worry sparks. Did Alma run away? Did another threat force her to flee? He calls her phone straight to voicemail. He texts Alma, please talk to me. I'm sorry for last night. I'm leaving my mother's empire. We need to figure this out together. No reply. Everett stands in the dingy hallway, unsure what to do next. Fear gnaws at him. Is she safe? Did something happen? He calls Harvey, who answers groggily. Hey, man, it's been chaos since the gala. Are you okay? Everett says. I'm fine, but Alma's gone. Do you know where she is? Harvey sighs. She texted me this morning. Said she's leaving town for a bit. Needed space. I assume she told you. Everett's heart sinks. She left him behind without a word. After last night's fiasco, maybe she believes he won't fight for her. He ends the call, frustration boiling. Just when he finally stands up to his mother, Alma disappears. He can't blame her. He betrayed her in that moment of crisis. She might never trust him again. Glancing at the cracked ceiling, he mumbles, I'll find you, Alma. I'm not giving up. Alma sits on a rickety bus bound for upstate New York. She stares out the window at rolling hills and farmland slipping past. A single suitcase rests by her feet, containing the bare essentials. She left her apartment behind for now, unsure if she'll ever return. She can't face the city's threats. The stress was suffocating. Between Vivian's intimidation and Everett's indecision, she felt cornered. So she fled, telling only Harvey she needed a break. A friend of a friend has a cabin near Lake Aurora, where she can stay for a while. The bus ride is long and bumpy. She clutches a small folder of medical documents for her pregnancy. She missed her father's call earlier. He wants her to come home to Colorado, but she's not ready for that either. She feels too raw, too humiliated. Her mind replays the confrontation at the gala, followed by her forced exit. The memory brings tears of anger and heartbreak. She trusted Everett to stand up for her, but he stood paralyzed while his mother banished her. Even if he's sorry now, the damage is done. She strokes her belly, the smallest bump beginning to show. I'll protect you, she whispers. Her maternal instincts roar against the idea of letting the Blackwells manipulate or claim custody. She won't allow Vivian to treat the baby as a corporate asset. When the bus finally arrives at the small station near Lake Aurora, Alma steps off into cool, crisp air. The smell of pine and damp earth replaces the city's metallic tang. She breathes deeply, feeling her anxiety ease a fraction. A local woman, Greta, picks her up in an old pickup truck, Alma explains she's a distant friend of the cabin owner. Greta nods politely, not prying. That's exactly what Alma needs, somewhere quiet, with no invasive questions. They reach the cabin nestled in a grove of tall pines. It's modest but cozy, with a wooden porch and a single lamp glowing into the window. Inside, she finds a simple kitchen, a worn couch, and a bedroom with a narrow bed. It's not luxurious, but it feels safe. Alma thanks Greta and watches her drive off. Alone now, she listens to the rustling trees. For the first time in weeks, there's no blaring horns, no swirling threats. She almost cries with relief. Unpacking her suitcase, she places the ultrasound pamphlet on the bedside table. She has an appointment in a few days at a local clinic. She'd called ahead, explaining her situation. They agreed to do the basic prenatal checks for a minimal fee. Slumping onto the bed, she gazes at the wooden ceiling. She's aware this is only a temporary escape. Eventually, she'll have to deal with Everett, Vivian, and the bigger question of how to raise this child. But for now, she allows herself a moment of peace. Alma wakes to the gentle sound of rustling pines outside the cabin. Sunlight filters through the thin curtains, casting pale stripes across the wooden floor. She sits up, momentarily forgetting where she is. Then reality sets in. She's taken refuge here to escape the Blackwell chaos. She boils water in a battered kettle, making instant oatmeal for breakfast. The simplicity feels soothing. No city horns, no threatening calls, no mother-in-law looming. Still, in the back of her mind, she knows this peace won't last forever. After eating, she decides to explore the surroundings. A narrow path leads from the cabin down to the lake, where morning light shimmers on the water's surface. Birds flit among the branches. She slips off her shoes, dipping her toes into the chilly water. For a moment, she imagines a future where she raises her child in a tranquil setting, like this, free from corporate battles and prying paparazzi. She's not naive, though. The baby's father is Everett Blackwell, and his family wields enormous power. If she disappears completely, what kind of life will her child have without a father? She exhales, hugging her knees. Her maternal instincts fight with her pride and her fear. A noise makes her turn. Greta emerges from the path, waving politely. "Just checking on you," she says kindly. They exchange small talk. Greta mentions a small grocery store in town. If Alma needs supplies, Alma thanks her, appreciating the neighbor's gentle concern. Alma spends the next hour reading articles on her phone about prenatal nutrition and coping with stress. The phone signal is weak, but enough to keep her connected, should Everett try to reach her again. She glances at the photos on her camera, roll old pictures from when she first moved to Manhattan, smiling, hopeful, unstoppable, and then the photo of the positive pregnancy test. Her eyes well up with tears. She can't regret the baby, but she regrets how precarious everything has become. Midday, her phone dings with a notification about the next day's clinic appointment. She's determined to keep it. This baby deserves proper care, no matter her fear. She wonders if Everett might come looking for her. A pang of guilt creeps in. She left without giving him a chance to prove himself. But after how he froze at the gala, she shakes her head. She can't rely on illusions. Still, a small part of her hopes he'll find her anyway, that he'll stand up to his mother and show he truly cares. She's not sure if that's a foolish daydream or a genuine possibility. With a sigh, Alma heads back up to the cabin to prepare lunch. She's alone in these silent woods, but she feels a stirring inside, an undercurrent of resilience. One day at a time, she tells herself, protect the baby, find stable ground. Then, maybe, she'll face the Blackwells again. Everett leans against the hood of his car, phone pressed to his ear. He's in a suburban parking lot on the outskirts of Manhattan, exhaustion etched into his features. A faint ring, then voicemail. Alma still isn't picking up. He pinches the bridge of his nose. He's tried everything, checking her old apartment, contacting mutual acquaintances. Even Harvey only has fragments of information. Harvey knows she took a bus upstate, but not the exact destination. Serafina calls him, her voice more supportive than ever. Any luck, she asks. He sighs, frustrated. No, gee. She's somewhere outside the city. She left for her own safety, and I can't blame her. Serafina gently encourages him. Don't give up. If you really want to be part of your child's life, you'll find her. Do I know her? He thanks her, feeling a pang of gratitude that she's not bitter or hostile. They've agreed to dissolve the engagement quietly, issuing a statement that circumstances changed, focusing on a business partnership rather than marriage. The press will gossip, but at least Serafina's not forcing him to pretend. Next, Everett meets with a private investigator he secretly hired. A gray-haired woman named Constance slides a folder across the table. She bought a bus ticket to Lake Aurora yesterday morning. Constance says, a one-way fare. That's all I have so far, but it's a small area. If she's staying, I can probably locate her within a day. Hope sparks in Everett's eyes. Please do, but discreetly. I don't want my mother or the media finding out, and I don't want Alma feeling ambushed. Constance nods, pocketing her retainer fee. Understood. I'll keep you posted. When he leaves the meeting, the city's sunlight feels oppressive. He glances at the tall skyscrapers, each representing some facet of the Blackwell Empire. A swirl of resentment surfaces as he thinks about his mother's threat to cut him off financially. So be it, he tells himself. He has his own savings, enough to start fresh if needed. He won't lose Alma and the baby over money. He dials Serafina once more to confirm the timeline for their public announcement about calling off the engagement. She's calm and resolute. She'll talk to her father. Try to salvage the corporate alliance without tying themselves in a forced marriage. Good luck finding her, she says gently, then hangs up. Everett stands by his car, the city swirling around him. He might have lost his inheritance, but he's found clarity. He wants to be present for his child. The lingering question is whether Alma will forgive him. If she doesn't, he'll still fight to do right by them. For now, he places his trust in Constance, Lake Aurora. He pictures Alma there, hoping she's safe. He climbs into the driver's seat, merges into traffic, and sets a mental countdown. He'll give Constance 24 hours. Then he's going to Lake Aurora himself, come what may. At the Blackwell penthouse, Vivian sits in her pristine office, anger radiating beneath her calm exterior. Across from her sits Adrian Pierce, a high-powered attorney on the Blackwell payroll. Stacks of documents clutter the desk. Vivian addresses him curtly. My son intends to abandon everything we've built to chase after that woman. We need to protect our interests. Adrian smooths his tie. You mean you want to block custody? Force her to sign away any claim? Vivian's gaze hardens. Exactly, Bob. She's already proven she'll wreak havoc on our reputation if given a chance. We have enough to prove she's financially unstable, lacks corporate references. We can spin her as an unfit mother. Adrian nods, though he looks uneasy. We can file preemptive custody petitions, claim paternity must be established, that she's intentionally hiding the child. But the courts usually require a fair hearing, especially if the father acknowledges paternity. Vivian's lip curls. Everett is too soft to fight her. I'll do it. We can claim Everett was coerced, that she engineered this pregnancy, use the argument she's refused to communicate or provide details, possibly mention she fled the city, raising suspicions of her mental health. Adrian scribbles notes. We can compile a narrative, but it'll be messy if Everett doesn't cooperate. He could undermine our case. Vivian's eyes flash. I have ways of influencing him. He still believes he can salvage a relationship with this woman. If we threaten to bury him in legal fees, he might relent. A tense pause follows. Adrian flips through potential legal strategies. This is high risk. Mrs. Blackwell, if it goes public that you're attempting to strip custody from a pregnant woman, the backlash could be severe. She stands, adjusting the collar of her silk blouse. Severe for her, not for me. I'll ensure the narrative is shaped correctly. Alma Rivera is a schemer, a gold digger who tried to sabotage our family. Public sympathy can be swayed with the right press channels. Adrian hesitates. Understood, but be aware of the potential blowback. If Everett openly opposes these moves, it could fracture the family brand. Vivian's anger simmers, but she forces a measured tone. If Everett chooses her over us, then he's no longer part of the Blackwell brand. I'll protect the empire from any scandal, even if it means disowning my son. With that, Adrian gathers the documents. He'll start drafting the legal framework, a scathing approach that, if executed, could paint Alma as unstable and undeserving of custody. Vivian offers him a cold nod of approval. Once he's gone, she paces the length of the office, fury burning in her chest. She'd spent decades grooming Everett to be the perfect heir, obedient, ambitious, untouchable. One woman threatens it all. Vivian refuses to let her empire crumble over a naive romance. She recalls Everett's words, "I won't abandon them." A grim smirk tugs at her lips. He may not abandon them, but if she plays her hand right, he'll be powerless to protect them. She's faced corporate sharks, political adversaries, and media storms. One pregnant interloper will not stand in her way. Early morning sunlight spills through the windows of a small local clinic near Lake Aurora. Alma sits in the waiting room, hands folded over her bump. A poster on the wall displays a smiling mother with a newborn, promising quality prenatal care. She's nervous, but also relieved to have medical support. When the nurse calls her name, she follows down a short hallway to a modest examination room. The walls are painted a soft green, the floor's linoleum. Not fancy, but welcoming enough. Lacey, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, introduces herself. "Let's see how you and the little one are doing," she says, gesturing for Alma to lie back on the exam chair. After some routine checks, Dr. Lacey performs a quick ultrasound. The screen flickers to life, revealing a tiny form. Alma's breath catches. She sees the outline of a head, little limbs. The rhythmic thump of a heartbeat resonates through the machine. Tears fill her eyes. This is real, her child is growing. Heart beating strong. Dr. Lacey smiles, pointing to the screen. "Everything looks normal for this stage. Do you have a support system? Husband, partner?" The question stings. Alma hesitates. "I'm not married. The father is in Manhattan." She decides to reveal nothing more. She can't risk local gossip spreading. The doctor nods compassionately. "I understand. Well, you'll need regular checkups, vitamins, a balanced diet, and please minimize stress." She hands Alma a pamphlet on prenatal nutrition. Minimize stress. Alma repeats in her mind, if only it were that simple. She thanks Dr. Lacey, schedules a follow-up in a few weeks, and returns to the waiting room. Her chest feels lighter. Seeing that the baby is healthy, a small victory in a storm of chaos. Outside, the sky is bright and clear. She cradles the ultrasound photos in her hand, tucking them gently into her purse. Every day, she grows more determined to fight for this child's well-being. If the Blackwells come after her, she'll stand her ground. As she walks back to the cabin, she sees Greta's truck parked by her doorstep. Greta waves with a warm smile. "Everything all right at the clinic?" Alma nods, showing a guarded smile. Greta doesn't press. She simply hands Alma a small basket of fresh produce, tomatoes, peppers, herbs. "From my garden," Greta explains. "A little something to keep you healthy." Overwhelmed by the kindness, Alma thanks her. This small-town generosity contrasts sharply with the harshness she felt in Manhattan. Maybe she'll stay here long-term, shield the baby from corporate greed, but she knows that might be wishful thinking. Everett deserves to know his child, if he's willing to step up without Vivian's manipulations. She closes the cabin door behind her, placing the ultrasound photos on the rickety table. A wave of maternal pride swells. Her baby has a heartbeat, a tiny body forming. No matter what storms loom, she's not facing them alone anymore. She has a life growing inside, giving her a fierce sense of purpose. By late afternoon, Everett's SUV rolls into the sleepy lakeside town near Lake Aurora. Constance, the private investigator, sits in the passenger seat. She's been tracking leads all day, local bus station logs, quiet inquiries with shopkeepers, checking short-term cabin rentals. They park by a small cafe, stepping onto a gravel lot. The fresh scent of pine and damp earth envelops Everett, a stark contrast to Manhattan's metallic bustle. He hopes Alma has found solace here. Constance points to a notice board outside the cafe. Apparently, a woman matching Alma's description was seen buying groceries. Locals say she's staying in one of the cabins owned by a man named Mr. Colburn. Everett's heart thumps with excitement and dread. Alma is close. But how will she react when he shows up unannounced? He thanks Constance, paying her final fee. "I'll handle it from here," he says. Constance wishes him luck, reminding him to keep a low profile so she disappears into her rental car. At the cafe, Everett grabs a coffee to calm his nerves. It's a rustic place with wooden floors and a chalkboard menu. Locals chat in relaxed tones. He feels conspicuously out of place in his tailored city clothes. He musters the courage to ask the barista about the cabins. The barista shrugs. "Mr. Colburn's property is down Old Pine Road. 5 or 6 small cabins there. You can't miss it." Everett thanks him, leaves a tip, and heads back to his SUV. Driving down Old Pine Road, he notices the trees thinning. Sunlight flickers through the branches. His pulse races at the thought of seeing Alma again. Will she let him in or slam the door in his face? He pulls up near the first cabin, steps out onto the gravel. No sign of her. He tries another, then a third. Finally, at the fourth cabin, a modest wooden structure, he spots a woman's silhouette on the porch. Long hair, a slight curve at her midsection. It's Alma. He exhales, relief flooding him. Slowly, he approaches on foot. As he nears, she turns. Their eyes meet. She stands abruptly, tension crackling in the air. For a moment, neither speaks, locked in a silent standoff. Then Alma narrows her gaze. Stepping off the porch, he lifts a hand, voice soft. "Alma, She doesn't let him finish. "How did you find me?" she demands, arms crossed protectively. He notices the subtle swell of her belly, an undeniable reminder that she's carrying his child. "I hired a private investigator," he admits quietly, "because I was worried about you." Her jaw tightens, but he sees tears welling in her eyes. She's angry, hurt, maybe a little relieved. "Why worry now? I told you everything. And you let your mother throw me out." He steps closer, hands trembling. "I'm sorry, but I panicked. I should have stood up for you right then. I'm here now. I left Manhattan. I left it all behind." She studies him, fighting back tears. The afternoon sun glows around them, an almost serene backdrop for this emotional collision. Finally, she speaks, voice thick with emotion. "You'd better start explaining. Because I'm not going to be a pawn in a Blackwell showdown." Alma leads Everett inside the cabin, still wary. She motions for him to sit at the small wooden table. The atmosphere is tense, but calmer than their last encounter. The ultrasound photo sits by a candle, an unspoken reminder of the life linking them. He glances around, taking in the Spartan furnishings. "This place suits you," he says gently. "Peaceful?" She folds her arms, unmoved by small talk. Cut to the chase. He inhales, meeting her gaze. "I came because I can't ignore what happened. I'm sorry I let my mother overpower us that night. She's been controlling me my whole life, dictating my choices. But I've made a decision. I'm out. I told her I won't marry Serafina, and if she wants to disinherit me, that's fine." Alma's eyes flicker with disbelief. "You said that to Vivian Blackwell. She threatened to ruin me, ruin you. Are you prepared for that?" He nods, voice thick. "Yes. I'm ready to lose the Blackwell fortune if it means doing right by our child. Serafina actually supports me leaving. She never wanted a forced marriage either. Alma digests this, so there's no engagement." He shakes his head. "We're issuing a public statement withdrawing. And my mother, well, she's furious. She's probably preparing legal warfare, but I'm not backing down." A tremor passes through her. She sinks into a chair opposite him. This is all so unreal. "A week ago, I was escorted out of your gala in shame. Now you're telling me you've left your empire behind for this baby. He reaches across the table, palm up in a silent offer of connection. For you and the baby, I can't pretend what we had was nothing. Even if it started as a mistake, I care about you. I want to be part of our child's life. Her throat tightens. She hesitates, then lightly places her hand on his. I appreciate that, she whispers, tears brimming, but I'm scared. Vivian is powerful. I'm just a woman with no resources. He squeezes her hand gently. We'll stand together. I have savings. Some personal investments she can't touch. Enough to support us until I find a new path. He looks at her intently. But you have to trust me. A swirl of emotions floods her relief. Doubt, love, betrayal. She can't fully deny the longing she once felt for him. But the trauma lingers. Trust is earned, she says softly. He inclines his head, acknowledging her right to caution. I understand. Let me earn it. Let me show you I'm serious. She nods, tears slipping down her cheeks. For the first time in days, a fragile hope stirs. He's here, but I'm saying all the words she needed to hear. But she knows the real test lies ahead when Vivian strikes back. In the background, the last rays of sunlight filter through the cabin's small windows, illuminating the moment like a delicate truce. They don't kiss or embrace yet. They simply sit there, hands linked across the table. Two people terrified and determined, uncertain but united by the life they've created. Their tenuous pieces broken by a knock at the cabin door. Alma flinches, pulling her hand free. She glances at Everett anxiously. Probably Greta, she murmurs, standing to answer. Greta stands on the porch, holding a small paper bag. She looks between Alma and Everett curiously. I just came to drop off fresh bread, she says, her smile warm but uncertain. Clearly, she senses the tension. Alma thanks her, forcing a tight smile. Greta lingers, gaze flicking between them. Everything all right, she asks softly. Stepping in on, Everett offers a polite nod. I'm visiting from Manhattan. Alma and I have a lot to discuss. Greta sets the bread on the table, noticing the emotional undercurrent in the room. Of course, she says. Then, in a gentle, motherly tone, just remember, up here we try to look out for each other. If you need anything, Alma, you know where to find me. Alma nods, touched by the concern. Thank you, Bo. Really? Greta casts one more glance at Everett, as if gauging whether he's friend or foe, before stepping out. Once alone, Alma closes the door. She's been a kind neighbor, she explains quietly. I wasn't sure if I could trust anyone when I first arrived. He nods, understanding how skittish she must have felt. I'm glad you have someone here. They share a moment, acknowledging how the outside world has intruded. The cabin isn't a sealed bubble. People notice arrivals, ask questions. If Greta knows Everett's identity, it won't be long before word spreads, especially if someone else is looking. Everett checks his phone, no new messages, though he half expects a barrage from Vivian. I should probably get us a place to stay where we can both feel safe. He muses, I don't want you to be forced out of your cabin if my mother sends people. A knot twists in Alma's stomach. She hates that her sanctuary might be compromised. Maybe we should consider our next steps carefully. If she files legal action, I'll need a lawyer. He nods solemnly. I know a few attorneys who left the corporate sphere because they couldn't stomach the tactics. We can consult them. They aren't under my mother's influence. She gives him a searching look. Can you handle all that? You're basically severing ties to your entire empire. His eyes flicker with apprehension, but also resolve. Yes, I can. I have to. He stands, pacing the cabin's small space. I just need to figure out the specifics somewhere quiet. A stable environment for you and the baby. Maybe outside Manhattan. Her heart warms at the thought of him genuinely wanting to protect them. Still, a part of her remains guarded. She can't forget the night of the gala. I can't keep running forever, she says quietly. He turns to her, voice gentle. You won't have to. Once we're prepared legally and financially, we can confront her on our own terms. Alma exhales, a tangle of relief and anxiety. She's not alone anymore, but the stakes remain daunting. She rubs her belly absently, feeling a subtle flutter within. The baby is growing, unstoppable. Much like the confrontation that looms with Vivian. A few days later, Alma and Everett stand on the cabin porch, sipping coffee in the early morning chill. Fog drifts over the lake, veiling the distant pines. They share cautious smiles each day. They've grown a little closer, forging a fragile unity. Then the rumble of a car engine disrupts the silence. A sleek black sedan appears at the edge of the gravel driveway. Everett tenses. "That doesn't look local," he mutters. The sedan stops, and a man in a sharp suit steps out, holding a folder. Alma's stomach drops. She's seen enough legal dramas to know what a folder like that usually means. The man approaches, ignoring the tension in the air. "Miss Rivera," he asks formally. She nods, heart pounding. He hands her the folder. "You've been served," he says. Without waiting for a reaction, he strides back to his car and drives off, leaving a cloud of dust behind. Everett helps her open the folder. Inside are legal documents. Vivian's attorney is suing for anticipatory custody determination and protection of paternal rights. Essentially, it's a preemptive strike to control the outcome before the baby is even born. Alma's voice trembles. She's claiming I'm hiding the child from the father, that I'm refusing to coordinate. She's painting me as uncooperative, unstable. She scans further, eyes widening with shock. She wants the court to force me back to Manhattan for evaluation and restrict my movement until the child is delivered. Fury flashes in Everett's eyes. She's basically trying to put you under house arrest, brand you as a risk. He flips through pages. The lawsuit mentions the father's best interest, corporate obligations, and preserving the family legacy. Vivian's signature is there, along with her attorney's. Alma's name is spelled out as if she's the villain in some twisted fairy tale. Alma shudders. She's cunning. If I lose in court, she could keep me under watch, maybe even separate me from the baby if she claims I'm unfit. Everett slams the folder shut. "No, we won't let that happen. I told you we'd be prepared." Her lip trembles. "But are we? She's a billionaire with an army of lawyers." He sets the documents aside, gripping her shoulders. "Listen, I've found an attorney willing to represent us, a friend of Serafina's father. Ironically enough, he's known for standing up to corporate overreach. We'll fight this." She exhales, tears brimming. The lawsuit is a stark reminder that Vivian won't back off easily. "Okay," she says softly. "I'll try. I'm just scared." Everett draws her into a tentative embrace. She lets him hold her this time, resting her forehead against his shoulder. In the distance, the lake's fog begins to lift, unveiling the calm waters. But for Alma and Everett, the storm has just intensified. That afternoon, Everett's phone buzzes with a call from Serafina. He steps outside the cabin to answer, pacing near the old pine tree. Alma watches through the window, tension gnawing at her. Any mention of Serafina triggers old insecurities. But she reminds herself that Serafina chose to step aside, not fight them. Everett returns moments later with a surprising announcement. Serafina wants to help. She arranged a meeting with her father's personal lawyer. He's apparently disgusted by Vivian's tactics and willing to represent us pro bono if necessary. Alma's eyes widen. "But why would he help us for free?" Everett shrugs, a grateful smile tugging at his lips. "Serafina's father respects independence more than you'd think. He never forced her to marry me. Vivian and his corporate board push that narrative. If he can salvage a business alliance while avoiding scandal, he's open to it. And he has no love for my mother's manipulations." A flicker of relief. Alma nods. "We need all the help we can get." She still feels uneasy, but any advantage is welcome. They schedule a video call for that evening, hooking up Alma's laptop to the cabin's shaky Wi-Fi. Serafina appears on the screen first, hair pinned back, wearing a confident smile. "Hey, both of you," she greets, voice warm. "I'm so sorry it's come to this. Let's see if my father's lawyer can help. Moments later, a gray-haired attorney named Richard Liu joins. He cuts straight to the point. I've reviewed the preliminary lawsuit. It's built on intimidation and speculation. Vivian claims you're denying paternal rights. Yet Mr. Everett is clearly here by your side. We can countersue for harassment. Alma exhales, tension seeping out. So we have a chance, Richard nods firmly. A good one. Courts rarely favor forcing a pregnant woman into relocation or evaluating her mental fitness without credible evidence. We'll file a motion to dismiss, plus a protective order against further harassment. Serafina smiles faintly, chiming in. I've dealt with my share of corporate bullies. Trust me, Vivian can be outmaneuvered. She relies on fear and image. If she sees public opinion turning against her, she might back down. Alma glances at Everett, emotion brimming in her eyes. She never imagined Serafina, the woman once meant to be Everett's bride, would become a key ally. Thank you, she manages. I'm still in shock. Serafina's voice softens. I want everyone to live their own life. This is the best outcome for all of us. They wrap up the call with a game plan. Richard will file the legal countermeasures immediately. Meanwhile, Serafina will discreetly speak to media connections, shaping the narrative that Vivian's lawsuit is overreaching and harmful. If negative press floods back on Vivian, she might lose the board's support. Alma ends the call, tears of gratitude slipping down her cheeks. She turns to Everett, overwhelmed. I never thought I'd be thanking Serafina for saving us. He takes her hand, equally moved. Me neither. But I'm so glad we have her on our side. In that moment, Alma realizes they're building a new kind of family, one founded on choice, acceptance, and mutual respect. It's fragile but promising, like a bud pushing through hard soil. No victory comes without backlash. A day after Richard files the counter lawsuit, the media explodes with lurid headlines. Blackwell heir abandons corporate bride for ex-employee, secret love child in the making social climbing marketer. Trapped billionaire. Alma stares at her phone, scrolling through sensational news articles. Photos of her stepping off a bus, old pictures from her LinkedIn profile, even rumors about her personal life. It's horrifying. She feels violated. She suspects Vivian used paid sources to push this narrative. Everett paces, phone buzzing nonstop. He finally picks it up to see missed calls from his mother's personal assistant. He ignores them. This is exactly what she wants, he mutters. To paint you as a gold digger and me as a fool. So the court sees you as manipulative. She tries to swallow the lump in her throat. What if people believe it? The entire world might see her as a schemer. She worries about job prospects, her reputation. It's traumatizing. Everett sits next to her, placing a reassuring hand on her back. Serafina's father has PR specialists. They're countering with the official statement that we parted with mutual respect, that you and I have a legitimate relationship, but it'll take time to drown out the tabloids. She shivers, hugging herself. Her phone pings with a nasty message from an unknown number, calling her a homewrecker. Tears blur her vision. She never wanted this circus, just a fair chance for her baby. Everett's voice grows fierce. I'll talk publicly if I have to. Let them know you're not a gold digger. I'm not sure how the board will react, but I don't care. I refuse to let you be vilified. She leans against him, heart pounding. Maybe it's stress hormones from the pregnancy, but she feels the baby flutter again. A reminder of what's truly important. Later that day, they have a conference call with Richard and Serafina. They all agree to release a carefully worded statement that emphasizes Alma's professionalism, their genuine relationship, and the timeline of events. Serafina even plans to mention that the rumored engagement was a corporate formality, not a true romantic bond. It'll be scandalous, but honest. Despite these measures, the tabloid storm rages. Paparazzi are rumored to be hunting for Alma's location. Everett urges her to stay inside the cabin, even though her spirit rebels against feeling trapped again. He checks the perimeter regularly, ensuring no suspicious cars lurk. At dusk, they huddle together, exhaustion weighing on them. "I'm sorry," Everett whispers. "I brought this chaos into your life." She shakes her head, tears sliding down her cheeks. "It's Vivian's doing, not yours. I just want to keep our child safe." In the quiet gloom, they cling to each other. The war has escalated, and the battlefield is the media's glare, but they refuse to bend. Unbeknownst to them, the final confrontation draws near. Vivian has never lost a war, and she's determined not to start now. A week later, Richard informs them that the court has scheduled an emergency hearing to address Vivian's custody claims. The date is in 2 days, shockingly fast, likely due to Vivian's influence. The location, Manhattan Family Court. Alma feels her stomach drop. She's nearly 4 months pregnant, stressed beyond measure, and now she has to face Vivian in a legal arena. "They're rushing this," she murmurs, scanning the court summons. "She wants to catch us unprepared." Everett stands behind her, resting a comforting hand on her shoulder. "We'll be ready. Richard says we have a solid defense. We'll prove you're stable, that I'm willingly acknowledging paternity, and there's no reason to force you back under Blackwell control." Still, the prospect of returning to Manhattan terrifies her. The tabloids will swarm. Paparazzi might crowd the courthouse steps. She pictures Vivian, poised and powerful, spinning her web of influence. If the judge sides with her, Alma can't finish the thought, her child's future in the clutches of that woman. Richard calls, voice calm. "Don't worry, we're filing for a closed-door session due to the high-profile nature. The press might be barred from the main hearing. But you'll still face public scrutiny outside the courthouse." Serafina chimes in, offering to escort them. "I'll stand by you," she says. "If the media sees me supporting your side, it'll sway public opinion. My father is behind you, too." Alma's eyes well up with gratitude. She never asked for a friend in Serafina, yet here she is, risking her own social standing to do what is right. That evening, in the cabin's dim light, Alma packs a small bag for the trip. She glances at her modest clothes. She has nothing fancy for court. Everett notices her hesitation. "We'll buy whatever you need." "Don't worry." She appreciates the gesture, though the idea of using Blackwell money for new clothes feels odd. Before bed, they sit on the porch, inhaling the crisp night air. Stars twinkle above like distant fires. Alma rests her head on Everett's shoulder, listening to the soft rhythm of his breathing. They share a rare moment of quiet closeness before stepping into the fray. "I'm terrified," she admits in a whisper. "What if I break down on the stand?" He gently tilts her chin up, meeting her gaze. "Then I'll hold you. We'll face it together." His words convey a promise more powerful than any vow. She can't help the tears that slip out. For so long, she fought alone. Now she has a partner in this battle. They watch the stars a while longer, neither speaking. Their hands entwine, silently vowing to protect what they've created. Tomorrow, they'll drive to Manhattan. Day after, they'll stand in court. However it ends, they refuse to let fear decide their fate. Morning dawns cool and overcast as Alma, Everett, Serafina, and Richard step out of a black sedan in front of the Manhattan Family Court. The press is already there. Cameras clicking and reporters shouting questions. Security ushers them inside, shielding Alma from the onslaught of flashes and jeers. Inside, they find a subdued hallway of anxious parents, lawyers, and staff. Tension coils in Alma's stomach. She clutches Everett's hand, pulses racing. Down the corridor, a familiar figure appears, Vivian, flanked by her attorney, Adrian Pierce. She wears a sharp gray suit, face betraying no emotion. When they lock eyes, Vivian's stare drips with cold disapproval. She acknowledges Everett only with a faint nod, ignoring Alma entirely. Her expression says it all. "You're going down." They enter the courtroom. The judge, a middle-aged woman with stern features, presides. She calls the case Blackwell versus Rivera. Vivian's claim that Alma is hiding a pregnancy relevant to the Blackwell estate and refusing paternal involvement. Alma's counter-defamation, harassment, and the father Everett is willingly involved. Richard opens confidently. Your Honor, Miss Rivera is not hiding anything. Mr. Blackwell's fully aware of the pregnancy and supporting her. The petitioner's attempt to force custody proceedings is baseless and aimed at intimidation. Vivian's attorney counters. We have evidence Miss Rivera fled the city, ignoring attempts to coordinate medical care. The Blackwell family stands ready to provide a stable environment. But she vanished. Alma's throat tightens. She wants to shout that she fled because of threats. But she steadies herself, letting Richard handle the complexities. The judge turns to Everett. Mr. Blackwell, is it true you acknowledge paternity and support Miss Rivera's decision to live out of state temporarily? Everett stands, voice clear. Yes, Your Honor, I fully acknowledge the pregnancy is mine. I'm providing support willingly. Ms. Rivera left Manhattan due to harassment, not to hide the baby. Vivian glares daggers at her son as he speaks. The judge raises an eyebrow. Intrigued by the mismatch between mother and son, Adrian Pierce attempts to undermine Alma's character. He presents alleged evidence of her financial struggles, painting her as an opportunist. Richard quickly rebuts, pointing to her legitimate career path, forced termination, and how she's been cooperating with Everett directly. A key moment arrives when Alma is asked to speak. Heart pounding, she steps forward, voice trembling. I never tried to exclude Mr. Blackwell. When I told him I was pregnant, I was forcibly escorted out of his engagement event. I left the city to protect my child from repeated threats. Vivian's attorney objects, calling it hearsay. But Serafina stands, requesting to address the court as a witness. The judge allows it. Serafina testifies that she was the intended fiancée, clarifying that the engagement was primarily a corporate arrangement. She confirms Vivian orchestrated Alma's removal and threatened legal consequences. Her calm, poised testimony clearly rattles Vivian. The judge frowns at Vivian. Mrs. Blackwell, is that accurate? Vivian tries to maintain composure, but can't fully refute Serafina's statement. The tension escalates. Time seems to slow. After final statements, the judge calls a brief recess to review documents. Alma collapses into a chair, breathing hard, tears threatening. Everett wraps an arm around her, murmuring reassurances. Vivian stands across the aisle, furious, whispering at her attorney. The entire courtroom bristles with electricity. They wait, hearts pounding. The next few minutes could shape the child's future irrevocably. When the judge returns, the courtroom falls silent. She clears her throat, addressing both parties. I've reviewed the evidence, statements, and witness testimony. The petition to force Miss Rivera into a custodial arrangement is not supported by credible evidence. Mr. Blackwell openly acknowledges paternity, and there's no sign Ms. Rivera is unfit or withholding the child from him. A wave of relief pulses through Alma. She grips Everett's hand tightly, tears gathering in her eyes. The judge continues, shooting Vivian a hard look. Furthermore, Ms. Rivera's relocation appears to be motivated by legitimate fear of harassment, not an attempt to evade the father. This court sees no basis for awarding preliminary custody or restricting Ms. Rivera's movement. The petition is dismissed. A hushed murmur spreads through the courtroom. Vivian's face contorts with anger. Adrian Pierce tries to protest, but the judge is firm. Any continued harassment or baseless legal actions by the Blackwell family may result in sanctions. Alma exhales, tears spilling. Everett's arm encloses her, his own eyes glistening with gratitude. Serafina flashes a supportive smile from the gallery. Richard bows his head, relieved. Outside, the paparazzi clamor, but security keeps them at bay. They step onto the courthouse steps as free individuals. Serafina stands with them, ignoring the barrage of reporters. She gives a brief statement. We're happy the court upheld fairness. Ms. Rivera and Everett have our full support. Vivian hovers at the periphery, her expression stony, refusing to engage with the press. She strides to her limousine, ignoring shouted questions. A telling moment, the queen dethroned, retreating. For now, her power play has failed. In the swirl of chaos, Alma clasps Everett's hand, heart pounding with relief. They don't speak, but their interlocked fingers say enough. Together, they've secured a chance to build a life for their child without constant fear of the Blackwell Empire. Later that evening, they return to the cabin, physically and emotionally spent. Alma stands on the porch, gazing at the moonlit lake. Everett joins her, silently sliding an arm around her waist. She rests her head on his shoulder. Neither knows what the future holds. Their relationship is still fragile. They've never truly dated, never navigated normal life together. Yet the bond forged through this crisis is undeniable. They have learned to trust and defend each other under pressure few couples face. Alma turns, looking at Everett in the soft moonlight. "Thank you," she whispers, "for fighting beside me." He brushes a gentle hand over her cheek. "I'm not going anywhere, I promise." His voice trembles with earnest emotion. She presses a palm to her belly, feeling the subtle flutter of life within. "We have a lot to figure out," she says. "Housing, jobs, finances. But at least I'm not alone anymore." He nods, eyes shining. Neither am I. They share a tentative kiss, soft, hesitant, yet full of hope. The cabin porch, once a place of solitude, now becomes a small sanctuary for them both. In the background, the lake's surface shimmers under the moon, an endless horizon of possibility. Days later, a discreet envelope arrives. Inside is a single slip of paper, a note reading, "Don't think this ends here. I always have another card to play." There's no signature, but the meaning is clear. Vivian, or someone within the Blackwell sphere, still lurks, refusing to surrender. A seed for the next chapter is planted, a quiet warning that the fight for true freedom and family happiness may have only just begun.